Dude, I still can't believe that you watched every single Hasan stream for a week from front to back. Like, what a f***ing soldier you are.
Hasan promotes a worldview where you are morally obligated to reject compromise and coalition building because you somehow take on the sins of your allies. He courts a following of young people eager to engage with politics as a means to fix the world, and then uses the cover of real injustices to launder his extremism. Hasan doesn't get rich like a capitalist by exploiting workers and overcharging for a product. He gets rich by exploiting his viewers' energy, the real effort that they could put into improving the world by convincing them that watching his streams is of equal value to engaging in a political system. So here it is, front and center.
Shut up, go back to Auschwitz.
Shut up, go back to Auschwitz.
Oh my, how has that clip not gone viral? What the f? Why is this the first time I've seen that clip? It's called, I spent 1 week watching Hasan, and this is what I learned. Okay.
Powerful movements in history are fueled
Got
by...
anyone you want to call out in the heavyweight division?
Oh, you know it, lad. You know that Hasan Piker.
Chilling with the captains, like I don't understand.
Down. They are on the morally right side. Anne Frank died before she could resist.
Hezbollah is a paramilitary organization. I don't have an issue with them, let's just say.
Now, they could go tomorrow.
Did you say Anne Frank died before she could resist? I don't know if that was a fever dream.
I'm still not sure what I want this channel to be, so I'm just gonna chase subjects that catch my interest, and right now...
Oh, let me link the video. You guys want to show some support to a new creator. Glitterbell says this is their second video. Already in the intro, I gotta say, pretty polished. Don't love this font down here. Do something about the font. We can do a better font, okay?
Regardless of the hypothetical reality where Kamala Harris...
It was noidavoided? Oh, okay. We know who he is.
...would not be as bad as Donald Trump, which we have no proof for.
Right now I want to talk about Hasan. I've mainly known Hasan through the clips that get passed around on social media when he says something inflammatory.
Hezbollah is a paramilitary organization. I don't have an issue with them, let's just say.
Or dumb.
Which we have no proof for.
Or inflammatory and dumb.
Hey, I know that guy.
I believe what the Houthis are doing in terms of stopping Israel doing a genocide to implement.
We got to do something about the font. The text is an issue here because it kind of bleeds into the background. So I would use like a yellow font. Yeah, I would do the text a little bit differently.
A blockade on the Red Sea is a good thing. 10 toes down. They are on the morally right side.
Like I look at that and it's like my brain, it's like hard to see the words, you know?
And his go-to responses are that they're taken out of context, or people just don't get it, or you're a Zionist Nazi. And it doesn't line up at all with his appearances in mainstream media. He's got a much cleaner and more approachable personality. So much so that he's even referred to himself as
Zoomer NPR.
So I decided I wanted to take a look and see what Zoomer NPR was really like. For 1 week, I would watch Hasan stream start to finish and report back what I learned.
No, you didn't. You watched. No, you did not. You did not watch Hasan stream for a week straight, from front to back. That's like a fucking 60-hour job, bro. That's commitment right there. Let me go to recent broadcasts. You watched 50 hours of Hasan in 1 week. That's actually nuts.
Let's see how Zoomer NPR stacks up to regular NPR.
What do we...
I've made a terrible mistake. I really don't like this meme.
Can I show that on the stream?
That Democrats just use diversity.
Is this TOS friendly?
To paper over institutions without substantively changing them, especially when you compare them to Republicans. All you need to do is take a look to see that they are very different. Trying to critique by calling out something as tokenization becomes its own form of tokenization because you misunderstand the circumstances and deny the agency of the people who choose to be a part of those systems. How far are we into this? 5 minutes. Video game me and a Minecraft. The actual stream starts. He spends about 30 minutes talking about his last basketball game.
With hydration, especially, you know?
Alright, that's fine, I guess. We're easing in. Streaming is a more casual form of content. What's first?
Oh, I cannot believe you watched 50 hours of Hasan in 1 week. That's actually crazy.
Ronaldo was told he's in a sundown town.
Question, is this a sundown town?
Oh yeah, like 9 o'clock.
What is a stable Ronaldo? Shows the audience some green books he has. That's fine, but we're now 45 minutes in. Can we get to the news? We're on Twitter. Why are we on Twitter?
GOP comms director throwing a Roman. Wait, that is the GOP comms director?
He's letting us know there's Nazis on Twitter, and they're white women.
Her name is literally Mary Jane Trumper. Party Haley McAnally? Haley McAnally.
Guys, there are white women Nazis on Twitter, and they have funny names.
White ladies that did not have like any sort of interesting personality quirks would just be like a regular run-of-the-mill Republican. Now they just hit the Sig Heil.
He calls out libs of TikTok for being a Nazi despite being Jewish.
The people that did that historically did the Holocaust. Yeah, World War II was just a meme. Yeah.
Put a pin in that.
Let's move on from all these freaks and weirdos.
We're an hour and 15 minutes in now. Where's the news? Why is Zoomer NPR just a curated Twitter feed of Nazis? And we're looking at more Twitter Nazis. Who are these guys?
Just some Nazi salutes to today's football match in Rivne, Ukraine.
They're Ukrainian Twitter Nazis, specifically the Azov Battalion, which leads into Hasan giving his point of view on what Ukraine should be doing for peace.
Oh boy. Oh boy. What's this going to be?
I'm an advocate for the Minsk agreements, an infinitely better proposal than what the is going on currently. But there is under no circumstances a reasonable justification for Russia invading Ukraine, a sovereign power. Donbass is different than Crimea, and Crimea is an annexation that is, in my opinion, justifiable. It is
Minsk agreements consist of two main accords, Minsk I and Minsk II. They were negotiated in response to the ongoing conflict that began in 2014 following Russia's annexation of Crimea and the subsequent uprising of pro-Russian separatists in Donetsk and Luhansk regions of Ukraine. Minsk I, immediate ceasefire, withdrawal of heavy weapons, exchange of prisoners, humanitarian aid delivery. Minsk II, comprehensive ceasefire, withdrawal of heavy weapons from front lines, OSCE monitoring of the ceasefire, dialogue of self-governance for Donetsk and Luhansk, constitutional reform in Ukraine, restoration of Ukrainian control over its borders, exchange hostages and prisoners, humanitarian assistance, and resumption of socioeconomic ties.
Is a part of Russia, okay?
Finally, the news. They're talking about Texas trying to redistrict in order to push Democrats out of their seats. Hasan lets the clip run without giving any meaningful commentary.
Gavin Newsom is a fake demon. He really is. He really is. He's a fake demon. Gavin Newsom's major problem in California is public transit and the housing market. I fucking despise him. I think he's a demon. I guess the silver lining here in a weird, twisted way is that means that like elections will happen.
I need to explain something. It's not a defense of the Israeli state to say that when you criticize Israel, you should be accurate. Obfuscating reality for the sake of vilifying your enemy makes it harder to actually deal with issues on
Donetsk, sorry.
the ground because you waste time disentangling fact from fiction. That is a truth that goes in both directions. And for a government that will enthusiastically pounce on any scrap of misinformation to discredit the entirety of a criticism, you need to be sure you're giving them no opportunity. Make sense? Cool. While Hakeem Jeffries talks to Wolf Blitzer about needing to get more aid into Gaza, Hasan can only focus on the fact that apparently they're both funded by AIPAC.
AIPAC spokesperson Wolf Blitzer is interviewing current AIPAC-funded politician.
Orders are in priority.
Nothing to see here, man.
I mean, did Jeffries, was he calling for a Palestinian statehood in the clip?
An Israeli, whose grandparents were kidnapped, one of them was murdered, is saying that they need to end the war, and his chat is calling him a Nazi. Again, this person has family that was killed by Hamas on October 6th.
Jesus, f*** off, Nazi. F*** you, f***ing bloodthirsty ghoul. Poor Nazi soldiers, f*** you, scumbag. Unconditionally, you are out of your mind.
And they seem repulsed by him. They should be thanking him. Instead, they're self-righteously alienating the people they need to get the fighting to stop. Then he watches a John Oliver segment and criticizes John for not covering Gaza more.
He was noticeably absent from the conversation.
But that's all we get before he gets stunlocked by a chatter who says,
wait, is that even true? I feel like I've seen... Have I not seen multiple videos from John Oliver on Palestine? 1, 2, 1 on the West Bank. We'll count that. 3, maybe 4. I don't know what this is. YouTube search function is broken here, but whatever.
As they were in the IDF in Gaza.
I've been to Gaza several times.
He proceeds to call him a Nazi and Israel Nazis doing a Holocaust for the next 30 minutes.
You are literally a terrorist, brother. F***ing terrorist. You are defending a Nazi state's Nazi...
What are the, I've been to Gaza, hold on.
Call him a Nazi and Israel Nazis doing a Holocaust for the next 30 minutes.
You are literally a terrorist, brother.
I've been to Gaza several times. The starvation occurs due to Hamas, not because of Israel. You're a bunch of fools. Is that what that is? Well, I don't think it's true that it's because of Hamas.
Fucking terrorist. You are defending a Nazi state's Nazi military. You are a fucking terrorist. I'm a fucking adult. I can handle this conversation. Listen, you don't understand it. Mein family, mein Vater, mein Mutig. We do not hate the Jews. We do not hate them. I did go to Gaza. I didn't shoot anyone. I didn't kill anyone. I've guarded. That's all. Yeah, I'm just a guard, man. I'm just a camp guard. Were you just following orders, dude? $0.00 for you to just like be quiet. You know about the Holocaust?
As up as what is happening in Gaza right now, I think the direct comparisons to the Holocaust are a bit much.
Your bitch ass and your family came from Russia to Israel. How is that appropriate? The fucking Palestinian has been living there for generations. Your ass came from Russia. How is this anything but Nazi ideology? Jewish supremacist.
It's so much more complex than that. Like, people can have rational reasons for wanting to flee Europe and then go to Israel. People can have perfectly rational reasons. That doesn't mean what happened to the Palestinians is justified or okay. Like, you can still condemn the various things that happened. People that were killed, people that were kicked off their land, they had their houses stolen. Like, that's obviously bad stuff that you condemn. But the idea that you would be incredulous as to why, you know, a Jewish person would want to flee Russia. I don't even know when they fled. You mentioned something about the 70s in here, but
attitude. Israel.
Goating Jesus, what's up, buddy? Is Canada a camp because we have border guards? Yeah, I don't know.
Is built on the principles of Zionism, okay? Which is, as I repeated, a Nazi ideology. Asking me if Israel should exist is like asking...
That's just stupid. Calling Zionism a Nazi ideology is just stupid.
Should Nazi Germany exist?
Okay, we're finally off Israel, thank God. And we're on to Zoran Mamdani. Okay, Fox News doesn't like him, and he spends the next 30 minutes shitting on Dems.
With the pepperoni nips. This is the best Elizabeth Warren tweet, and it's not even Elizabeth Warren. It's Donald Trump's tweet about Elizabeth Warren. And
now we're learning about Hasan's Twitter beef with Drew Pavlov.
Tweeted, I've been to Israel 3 times.
Okay, now we're on to Trump is putting tariffs on India. No,
Drew
he's still
Pavlov
talking about
is
Drew.
literally about to go to jail. And I think he got like a $1,000.
Okay, now it looks like he's talking about the news. That's nice. Anyway, he finally hits play on the video and he walks away. First comment when he comes back.
It's kind of pointing.
He's still doing the walk away thing. That's interesting. The main point is that Russia never really stopped hating Jews. There were waves of immigration from Russia to Israel during Putin's tenure. Yeah.
It seems like India no longer...
I don't know about... I mean, like, historically, there's been plenty of anti-Semitism in Russia.
Longer lion. And this... my heart goes out to the Hindutva fascists. I feel like they probably thought that, like, Modi and Trump were...
Like, how is this congruent? I mean, how is this consistent? How are these consistent principles to say that, you know, Russia was justified in annexing Crimea, but then you're mad at a Jewish person in Russia, like, fleeing Europe to go to Israel? Like, explain that disconnect to me. I'm having a hard time with that one.
Literally the best friends on the planet. Like, no one is a closer friend to India than Donald Trump. Oh my God, he's been cut in half? Yeah. I unsheathed my katana. Nani? I just did my special move. Yeah, I cut him in half. Your anti-Semitic sword, yeah.
But then he uses Twitter in order to explain the tariffs.
We're the ones paying those taxes, you dumb fuck. Yeah, you go to buy a bed on Amazon that was made in Vietnam. The bed is not sailor. Could buy ahead against the tariff increase and can't do that into perpetuity. Tariffs make sense if you do this strategically.
Okay, another piece of critical news. Trump fired the commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics because they reported honestly on his dismal job numbers.
Is he going to find a way to blame Democrats here? We'll find out.
That's one new job right there. True. But also that's one layoff plus a new job. So I think it cancels itself out.
The swastikana. Yeah.
Next month's jobs report, 1 million jobs. You love it. You love to see it. America's hot.
We then spend the last hour of the stream on 2 separate Fox and Friends interviews with TikTok influencers who give male fashion advice and female dating advice respectively. And then the stream ends. Day 1 over. What did we learn?
Israel are Nazis, Democrats are corrupt and ineffective, and then racism. Okay.
Claudette Colvin was born September 5th, 1939 in Montgomery, Alabama. While in high school, she joined the NAACP Youth Council, where she would meet another Montgomery native, Rosa Parks. Alright, another day. Let's get...
Can I show that on my stream? I don't even know if I...
Today.
I watched the first episode of King of the Hill. It was all right.
He's going to debate Charlie Kirk.
Dartmouth, where I'm going to be debating Charlie Kirk.
Did they debate yet? Did they already have the debate?
And apparently Epstein had a photo with Castro. He's really
I have an argument that will divide the far left and help the Dems. All right, let's hear it.
disappointed about that.
How the fuck does he have a photo with Fidel, bro? This hurts. This hurts so much more. This hurts so much more than Chomsky. Hated some of y'all's faves are gonna be implicated. Like
First,
wait, there's a photo of Jeffrey Epstein and Fidel Castro. Wait, what?
news story. Sarah Huckabee Sanders visits the Western Wall.
literally, this is the one thing about Judaism that I do not know. Like, I mean, I've learned deep lore on this broadcast about Sukkot, about the citrus, about the stick and the tent. It's just the holy wall. I don't know. Wait, what the fuck? You don't know either? How do you not know? You're Jewish. Why do Christians go there and like cry and stuff? I'm gonna be real. It's not much. It's the outside wall of the second temple. This is the Temple Mount, mega holy, great place to pray.
How has he been doing commentary on Israel-Palestine for so long and he doesn't know about the Western Wall? It's one of the main points of contention and negotiations for the two-state solution.
It's just the wall, man. Calm down. Like, it just, politicians are doing the classic, like, we're going to Israel to show how fucking, to show how much we love Israel routine. That's it.
Okay, an hour and 20 minutes in, actual news. Trump is on the roof.
Oh, he's getting up there.
Doesn't do any investigating, just thinks it's funny.
Do a flip!
Anything about the dementia-addled president who's killing millions of people around the world by cutting USAID and facilitating the genocide in Gaza needs more scrutiny? No? Okay. But Trump and Harris were the same.
What is this? It Follows 2014?
Epstein comes up. That's a problem squarely on Trump, right? No, Republicans are subpoenaing Democrats, including Bill and Hillary Clinton. He spends the majority of time on them instead, thinking it's funny.
Bill Clinton could do the funniest thing. I'm just saying. Take it all down, baby. Come on. Come on. Mutually assured destruction.
He's upset that Cory Booker doesn't want to endorse Zohran Mamdani.
He had no issues pumping Mayor Adams. This is all about Israel, 100%.
I looked it up. Yeah, Cory Booker did not endorse Eric Adams. AOC certainly did not endorse Eric Adams. Hakeem Jeffries did not endorse Eric Adams. Neither did Nancy Pelosi, who was House Speaker at the time. She did not endorse Mayor Adams. Like, all that whole, we've beat that to death over the last week, but that whole Zohran Mamdani thing was, it is the most manufactured outrage I've ever seen in my life. It is such a intentionally divisive, wholly manufactured issue. It's so stupid, but it's kind of like insidious because, you know, on its face, I guess it kind of makes sense, right? Like, insidious, is that the right word? Insidious, meaning proceed in a gradual, subtle way but with harmful effects. Yeah, I think that works. It sounds like it makes sense on its face, right? Like, how come these prominent Democrats haven't endorsed in this mayoral race in New York City? What's up with that? And then you take like 2 seconds to look up the precedent, and it's just not precedent at all that national Democrats automatically endorse the Democrat in that race specifically. You take the time to look this shit up, it turns out that endorsements for the New York City mayoral race those usually come from local politicians in New York. Like local groups and local politicians. Like, it's not a given that national Democrats endorse in those races. And it's certainly not a given that the DNC does. Like, the DNC has nothing to do with the mayoral race. Like, they've literally never endorsed a mayor ever. And yet I had several people in my replies that are like, why are the fucking DNC sitting this one out? Why aren't they fucking supporting Mamdani? It's the whole thing is invented. They're doing it intentionally to try to divide the party. That's what's going on. It's not that they're planning a war. They're already conducting the war. Like the black pill lefties, they're already doing the war right now. They're at war with the Democratic Party. They are going for a hostile takeover, and we have to make sure that they're not successful.
And we're back to Israel because he's corrupt because of AIPAC.
And Israel is not even just about Israel. Israel is about democracy. AIPAC money is consequential. It is important, especially at a time like this. In late recording, Cory Booker says he and AIPAC president text message back and forth like teenagers. AIPAC is simply a representation, tip of the iceberg, in terms of how pervasive.
Will you just give me a spoiler? Just give me a spoiler. Noid, are you still in here? My whole thing that I've been saying is that they're using, these people are waging a war against the Democratic Party, and they're using Israel as the main lightning rod issue. They want to do a referendum on the Democratic Party around the issue of Israel is what they're doing. So I want a spoiler alert. Does he talk about Israel extensively every day, all 7 days?
Israeli lobbying efforts are and how pervasive Israeli influence is in American politics.
This is Professor John Mearsheimer.
That's what they're doing. They're gonna put a list together, the list of all Democratic Party members who are not sufficiently anti-Israel, which means that's a very specific thing, by the way. Like the purity test is one state solution, severing our relationship with Israel, full arms embargo, and sanctions. So any Democrat that doesn't meet that purity test, they're going to go to war with those people, and they're going to undermine them in a way that could cause damage once we get to the general. So like the point of this war is that it's going to go beyond the midterm primaries. Like once the voters have made their minds up and decided who they want to be the nomination, to be the nominee, they're still gonna continue this war. Yeah.
He's a political science professor at the University of Chicago. In 2007, he wrote a book called The Israel Lobby and U.S. Foreign Policy.
Like it kind of became obvious to me in the last like week, you know, or maybe in the last like 2 to 3 weeks. I think maybe it started with the Alyssa Slotkin interview with the Crystal Ball, where I was like, wait a second, there's something going on here. Like they're doing something right now.
Policy, which was about the Israel Lobby and U.S. foreign policy. The argument of the book is that Israel leads American foreign policy in the Middle East at America's expense. Not quite Mossad did 9/11, but it's still pretty inflammatory. Today, he's going to tell us about the Greater Israel Project. Greater Israel is
Wait, is he watching? Is this Tucker Carlson?
The idea that Israel has a religious compulsion to conquer the land from the Nile River in Egypt to the Euphrates in Syria and Iraq, along with the entirety of Lebanon and a large chunk of Saudi Arabia. This is despite the fact that...
Wait, do people actually believe this? Do people like Hasan believe that Israel wants to, like... Hold on.
Israel has compulsion to conquer the land from the Nile River.
Do they actually believe that this is what Israel is trying to... Like, this is the ultimate goal, is to take over a substantial portion of the Middle East here, just fully absorb Lebanon and Jordan, a part of Iraq and part of Saudi Arabia, and a big chunk of Egypt up here? Do they seriously believe this? His chat does. I wish this was higher resolution so I could read what his chat is saying.
River in Egypt to the Euphrates in Syria and Iraq, along with the entirety of Lebanon and a large chunk of Saudi Arabia. This is despite the fact that Israel hasn't done any conquering, even with its projection of military force. Israel has gone into Lebanon multiple times and left. It gave Egypt the Sinai for peace. Jordan administers Al-Aqsa.
Golan Heights.
Despite bombing Syria.
Didn't they give the Golan Heights back, or did they take that over again? I don't even know. Whatever.
The IDF has actively removed Israelis who have tried to set up settlements across the border. This does not make West Bank settlements minor in comparison, nor is it excusable for the way that it has made reconciliation needlessly harder. The point is that it lacks historical evidence that Israel's plan has been to rip up peace agreements with its neighbors and start a war on 5 fronts, with manpower it doesn't have, to seize territory it cannot hold, with military aid it won't get. Unless he thinks that the US would be willing to help with that because of the Israel...
Well, during the 6-Day War, I know they took over part of Jordan. Is that when they took over the West Bank, actually? I think that's when they took over the West Bank in the 67 war, right? The 6-Day War. But then they took the Golan Heights, and then they took the Sinai. And then they eventually gave the Golan Heights and the Sinai back, but I think they hung on to the West Bank, right?
Israel lobby. So we're going to listen to this guy talk about Greater Israel, okay? Where is he talking about this? We spend 2 hours listening to Tucker Carlson's podcast uncritically.
That's crazy, actually, bro. Did he really just uncritically watch a Tucker Carlson video for 2 hours without adding much commentary and pushing back against this idea that Israel has these larger aspirations to just like fully annex Syria and Lebanon?
Hasan will tell you that Tucker is a fascist.
Tucker Carlson is not an ally, and I will explain to you why over and over again.
He'll just also tell you he agrees with everything
Does he have to like convince his chat? Is that what's going on? Are people in his chat being like, oh my God, is Tucker Carlson based? Is that what he's pushing back against, or is this just unprovoked?
they're talking about.
Everything from here on out, he's cooking with gas.
The Golan is still occupied. They've actually pushed past the Golan ever since the fall of Assad, and they continue to harass Syria for no reason. I can't speak to all that, but I think at some point they did give, either they gave the Golan Heights back or they gave part of it back, right? Am I making that up? At some point after the 67 war?
He's 100% correct.
And maybe they reoccupied it? I don't know.
And not once will he ever consider putting those two thoughts together. Remember that one time Tucker Carlson had on?
Adolf Hitler is firing off radio broadcasts, giving speeches, trying to get the message to these people that Germany does not want to fight you. Churchill wanted a war. I don't begrudge him that.
This is serial doxer, harasser, and all-around awful human being, Bad Empanada.
Stupid name, stupid humans.
The noted terrorist, Menachem Begin, whose name I surely mispronounced, but I mean, modern Hebrew is a constructed language anyway. They pronounce everything wrong.
Hasan won't correct that little lie.
BE just posted another video about, just to give you a sense of like, Zionist slop tubers are all paid. And so that kind of makes sense, because I'm seeing like literally dozens of replies in my Twitter mentions accusing me of being paid in secret by Destiny to do Israeli propaganda. Like it's fucking so stupid. It's so dumb. Like it's actually so dumb. There's like so many layers of just wrong when it comes to that. Like I think I'm not gonna watch the video, but I think he's telling his people that we're still getting paid. I guess to do Israeli propaganda.
Obvious anti-Semitic tidbit, but his chat certainly seems to like it. But he will correct one thing.
Jesus.
Reagan was an extremely Trumpish president. He was just better on camera than Trump is, because he was an actor and Trump isn't. And he
Wrong. Donald Trump is a TV guy as well, and that's the reason why he's very telegenic and very charismatic. I disagree with Bad Empanada.
Nobody's seen anything like it, even though they've done it twice before. And in a certain way, it almost looks like they've abandoned the state. It looks very bad. Yeah, go ahead.
Zoomer NPR, everyone. Oh my God, we're finally done with Tucker. I have no more energy. Now we're at RFK banning mRNA vaccines, which is really...
How are you doing psychologically after this? Chad, if you're just joining, there was a viewer that watched 7 days of Hasan from front to back. Are you doing okay? Like, how did you, that would have been rough. There's no way I could not do that. There's no fucking way I could do that.
Am I crazy? Isn't mRNA research like literally working to cure cancer? A Jeffrey Epstein associate.
It is
molesting the field of...
Go from RFK ending what might be one of the biggest public health advancements since the inception of modern vaccines, back to being happy because Trump is going after Adam Schiff.
Oh my God.
Part of that is...
Oh my God. Senator Adam Schiff under federal criminal investigation for alleged mortgage fraud violations. Oh my God. I hope they arrest him. Oh my God.
Dude. These are the ones that constantly say, like, cut a liberal and a fascist bleeds. They're the only people that can stop fascism. The liberals, we don't have the spine. We don't have the teeth to stop fascism. And he's celebrating the Trump administration announcing like a criminal investigation of Adam Schiff.
Yeah, this is political. Sure, I don't care. Lock him up. Lock him up. I know Trump is doing this out of pure malice. This motherfucker got like $6 million from AIPAC. Shifty Schiff.
He reads the full Trump social media post about Schiff. Then he reads another...
What? First time chatter here. Saw you on Hila's stories. Thanks for the coverage. Let me do some investigating here. I feel like genuinely feel really bad for her. I think what they're doing to her is fucking disgusting. Wait, you mean an old story maybe? I'm not sure. Like I want her to see that there are people that are like sticking up for her, because I don't think she did anything to deserve this disgusting shit. It's so fucked up, dude.
Another full Trump tweet, this time about the Doge kid named Big Balls getting mugged.
Wait, how are you allowed to show this?
Talks about federalizing
what the
DC
fuck?
Because of a fact he finds out about the attack.
There's no way you're allowed to show this on Twitch, right? Like, there's no way you can show blood on Twitch, right?
One of them is a girl?
Claudette Colvin used the buses in Montgomery to get...
I feel like that would get normal people banned, right?
School and back home. The buses back...
I know for a fact you're not allowed to show blood like that. There's no way.
Segregated, meaning that if a white passenger boarded, they were given priority for the front of the bus, and black passengers had to go to the back. On March 2nd, 1955, Claudette was riding home when a white passenger boarded and she was told to move. She refused, and so the bus driver called the police and she was arrested. 9 months later, Rosa Parks would be arrested for the same offense. Alright.
We got some non-linear storytelling in this. We always love a good non-linear storytelling thing, you know? That's like very Christopher Nolan, you know?
What fresh hell awaits me today? So he begins with streamer and YouTube drama. I don't care, you don't care, let's not care together. He calls out Twitter as a Nazi site, which he continues to use.
Then you got Elon Musk buying Twitter and then making Twitter into this like fucking neo-Nazi breeding ground. So now people are just like, oh, I don't like someone, let's dox them, let's swat them, let's go.
You just platformed Bad Empanada the day before. Like what? Why do I need to explain?
After the whole fucking family, and it's
oh, you were going there already. Okay, all right. All right.
Basically
all right, Noid, I knew you were. All right, good for you. All right, you got there.
This like incredibly fucked process.
He says the country Georgia.
I'm not very familiar with Georgia.
Like Bad Empanada blatantly doxes people and smears them with dishonest lies, like constantly. He does it intentionally. It's not accidental lies. Like he's just lying. Doxes people constantly. And he's complaining about people doxing?
Wants to join the EU because they're Christian, but they look Turkish, so they get the anti-Turkish racism and not the anti-Slav Polish racism.
Georgians look fucking Turkish.
Okie dokie then. I feel like there's some backstory here he could elaborate on to not make that seem like a bizarre tangent.
You know?
But instead, we look at an article in the New Republic about Hasan. He says the media hits about him are coming because the media was objectively wrong about the election and not because he's paying for PR.
No, it's probably because public perception on Israel-Palestine.
And Israel, how could I forget? Once again, we almost get to the news, but we are sidetracked back to Twitter for a Fox News video about an ICE raid.
There is no real democratic process here.
That's going to be a new theme here.
Companies don't actually care about any of this shit either. They never cared about woke.
Quick aside about companies not caring about woke. You might think rainbow capitalism is a cheap way to get public sentiment on the side of corporations so you'll buy stuff. And you're right. It's also a good thing that public sentiment is on the side of inclusivity and empathy to the point that it would make people feel motivated enough to buy stuff, which, if you believe we live in a hyper-consumer society...
Target got really fucked. Like, Target got rid of DEI stuff, and then there was like a mass... Is that an earthquake? I think the ground in Los Angeles is rumbling a little bit. Dollars Vidania with $5. Anyone want to guess where AIPAC and their affiliated PAC, United Democracy Project, ranked within the top 10 of top 10 of total campaign expenditures in 2024? I don't know that, but I do know that I think they were the highest spending PAC for individual races. There were like two different. Was it a 2.2 out of Grapevine? Is that what it was? Yeah, I felt like there was a little bit of rumbling there. There were two different metrics. There was like some other different kind of spending and then spending on like individual races. And AIPAC did spend a lot of money on individual races, but there are so many other PACs that spend money on elections, and yet AIPAC is the only PAC that these people ever talk about.
Society would be the highest form of love.
And I said that at the time. I was like, this is all fake bullshit anyway.
Finally, we reached the news.
Right, we're going to start off with Ghislaine Maxwell.
Fuck me, we're back to Twitter. So that he can call Trump powerful for punishing corporations.
He'll just be like, I'm revoking your federal...
Did we get an official prediction from Trump? Sorry, from Hasan. This is the closest I could find to a prediction. He's referencing the Ann Seltzer poll. Seltzer poll shows huge upset for Kamala in Iowa. Hogs Malding, Hogwatch, Poll Watch. I don't know if he ever actually predicted who would win the race.
Federal contracts.
He criticizes the Trump administration for prioritizing.
Yeah, anyways, yeah, Target. Dude, Esme was in on the Target, man. I feel like Esme's really plugged in with like Black Instagram or like Black social media, Black Twitter. She's doing all the fucking boycotts. She's like, we're going to go get a Costco card. Fuck Target. I was like, oh, okay.
ICE over the affordability crisis.
The fucking...
Costco, man. You got to want it with Costco, man. The Costco where I'm in the Los Angeles area. So like, it's a shit show. I have never seen we had a Costco up north and that was pretty busy, but the Costco near where I live, you gotta fucking want it, man. It's a time commitment. It takes you like 2 hours to go to Costco.
affordability crisis.
He says America could be a force for good.
Yeah, Costco doubled down on DEI. Full Giga Chad, yeah.
I mean, it always sucked, but it never sucked this hard. America could be a force for good.
And uses China as a comparison.
Like China does this, China does that. China has like incredible social repression. And then refusing to look at any of the good things that the Chinese government has done. High-speed rail, constant focus on like developing American infrastructure.
Infrastructure. Force for good equals infrastructure. Infrastructure.
Yeah, fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Things that we fantasize China is doing with.
All right, hold on. We gotta skip the DMCA's.
Definitely a trustworthy individual, by the way. Trump could just be like, "I'm innocent. I told Ghislaine Maxwell to literally say I'm innocent." What comes of that? The only way that there would be movement in a positive direction on this issue is if like people got so mad that he like openly admitted this, that there were fucking riots on the streets and his base was participating in the riots. It would not be because the Democrats have pushed for like an impeachment or some shit like that. We only have...
Dude, the fuck, he's just, god damn it, man. The Democrats so aggressively kept the Epstein stuff salient for like 3 fucking weeks, like 3 or 4 weeks. That's a hard thing. I mean, I'm not crediting entirely the Democrats, but they were so aggressively pushing on the Epstein stuff to keep it in the news. And you have to assume that their efforts did help to keep it salient for as long as it, for a news story to be, I mean, it's fallen off in the last couple of weeks. People are talking less about Epstein. They're still talking about it a little bit, but not as much. But to have a story that salient for like a month, like 5 weeks, however long it was, it just didn't go away. Every day was a new Epstein story. And he just doesn't want to credit Democrats whatsoever in their efforts to keep it in the news. Like it was like a full unified front. It was like a rare moment of absolute unity in the party, where we had everyone from the squad to the most moderate senators you can imagine posting memes about Epstein, and he just can't fucking give Democrats like any fucking credit for the efforts that they make. It drives me insane.
One another. You have no trust in liberal institutions. I mean, I want to trust them, but how can you? And the Democrat Party's complacency.
They talked about Texas Dems leaving the state in the clip you were watching not even 10 minutes ago. Weren't you listening? Oh yeah, I guess not.
Corruption has always existed in American politics. When you let go of the aesthetic, all of a sudden people are like, well, wait a minute, this is
him in service of the narrative that Donald Trump isn't really an aberration at all, and he's kind of a continuation of the norm. That's another thing that they do. It's another thing that they do, and I think they do this for an obvious reason, because if they acknowledge that Donald Trump is uniquely dangerous, then it would make their whole strategy of constantly undermining Democrats, it would expose that for being really stupid strategy. And they can't have that. Like, you can't have any situation where you can easily make the case that Democrats are better than Republicans. And there's really no easier way to make that case than Donald fucking Trump. And so they have to attack that. And the way that they attack that is like, well, we've always been corrupt. Things have always been this bad. It's like such a transparent strategy that these guys do. I don't even know if they're consciously doing it. I think they just kind of instinctually know to move away from certain narratives because it hurts their fucking whole pitch.
This is fucking criminal. This is a criminal enterprise. What the hell's going on? And people get mad.
Chatter actually calls him out for his both sidesing. And what's his response?
You are becoming a smaller and smaller sliver of society. Like, the idea that this was somehow the left's responsibility. Like, no, actually the left was pushing the Democrats to fight. Myself included in this.
And when they do fight, you don't even acknowledge it. Like, you just don't even acknowledge when they do fight. It's like, does everyone understand like how his whole worldview is such a fraud? Like, it's completely rotten from the bottom out. His whole central premises are complete frauds. And then it's like fruit of the poison tree. Just everything that springs from this rotten belief system he has, it's all lies. It's all just a fraud. It's just a big fucking fraud.
Look at the Democrats now. They're not fighting.
Democrats who left the state.
That's why people voted for Trump, because they want to change.
He was already president once, Hasan. Why do you think the cheers at Harris rallies were for "we're not going back"? The framing of this moment is so perfect.
They have no dream of a better tomorrow. They have no design for a well-functioning society that actually does right by every single American. So they don't communicate that at all. You're just the lighter version of Republicans. Great. I don't want that. We know Jeffrey Epstein might be related to foreign.
Do you guys see what I mean? Like, it makes the pitch of if you're going to say that Democrats are just a lighter form of Republicans, like they're really not that much better, you have to take the position that Donald Trump actually isn't that bad. You know, you have to take that position. You've forced your way into making that argument. And it's such a stupid fucking argument. Like, it's especially in the second Trump term, when we have Donald Trump on camera today saying, when we're done doing DC, we're going to fucking send the military into Chicago and New York and Los Angeles. And he's still doing the, like, Democrats are Republican light. What is it going to take? Like, would it take Donald Trump literally rounding up anyone who they deem to be a socialist from their social media posts and putting them in internment camps? Is it going to take that? Like, even if that happened, would he still continue with this whole, well, we don't really know if Kamala would have done that, you know? We don't know how different she would have been. Like, how far does it have to go? 14 million dead, that wasn't enough. Like, USAID cuts, 14 million people dead. You know, more people than the Germans killed in the Holocaust. Projected dead over the next 10 years. That wasn't the thing. Roe wasn't the thing. Sending in the military to do ICE stuff in Los Angeles, that wasn't the thing. He's like openly just bragging about his plans to do, you know, like a quasi martial law in big blue cities. He's joking and laughing that Adam Schiff is being investigated by this administration like it's funny. Like, oh my God. I didn't know it was this bad. Like, I really didn't know. Like, now I feel like I know. Like, he really does shit on Democrats more than he shits on Republicans. It's actually kind of insane. But it seems like, according to what we're watching here, which is a comprehensive review of 7 days of his streaming, it's like 75-80% of his content is like Dems bad or Dems bad by proxy because Israel and blah, blah, blah.
Intelligence, but it's certainly not Chinese, okay? The foreign intelligence that Jeffrey Epstein is associated with is Israeli intelligence.
For the last 10 years, Republicans have been hyping themselves up on QAnon conspiracy theories of a secret government file ring, and now the left is doing the same thing.
Okay.
Fantastic. We watch Mark Maron, he talks about Austin, Texas, calling Californians who move there the Israelis of Americans.
Californians are really the Israelis of America? True. 24 karat gold, la boo boo. It's gross. It's so perfect for Trump. You say,
all right, so even with the criticisms of Trump, it's like couched in this whole like, oh, that's just Trump. Trump's just being Trump. It's actually kind of funny, you know? like even with the criticisms of Trump, it's like, oh, this is classic Trump. Classic. What a jokester, this guy. The witch's persona with $10, the National Guard would have to be in his neighborhood to make Hasan change his rhetoric. Even then, he might just say, well, that's exactly what he would do. If the National Guard literally showed up in his neighborhood, he would blame Gavin Newsom. It's like 100% what he would do, right?
Is this a fucking W for the admin or a W for the country? It depends. Only time will tell. We're ruining the remaining water supply. We're just poisoning people. We're fucking burning the planet to the ground so that people can make people can jerk off to grok.
We're considering it, yeah, because the crime is ridiculous.
It really seems like he should have more qualms about an authoritarian attempting to unilaterally seize territory, but
I will defend big balls. I will defend his balls. I will defend him against unruly teenagers who beat his ass.
And that's just a way of trying to divert attention to something that's total bullshit. Okay?
Trump calls his connection to a known sex trafficker bullshit. In the Oval Office, mind you. Hasan says nothing because he's not listening.
Tim Cook.
Now we're on to the story of a Utah state senator who's trying to change the age of consent to help one of his family members who was charged with
motherfuckers are real demons, bro.
So apparently a Republican demon is helping a family member get away with pedophilia, but a Democrat demon is doesn't build trains. And now let's get ready for all of that Republican criticism to leave the viewer's mind because we've reached everybody's favorite topic. I just want to point out how gross.
The audio's the audio got a little confusing there. So like when you have your voice come in and then there's like 2 tracks of Hasan talking, it's hard to, if you're taking notes, it's like hard to pay attention to like what's happening there.
It is that he's not paying attention to a video about starving Gazan children as he eats.
Hospital for malnutrition. Tempers flare on the streets of Tel Aviv.
Okay, bro.
The person Hasan just flipped off is Ehud Olmert, who served as Israel's prime minister from 2006 to 2009, so right after the Second Intifada. And even he is saying Israel is committing war crimes and that the war needs to end. But Hasan brushes him off as well.
Israel literally doing the final solution in broad daylight. And you got the most aggressive critic of Benjamin Netanyahu still trying to save face for some indecipherable reason. Just be honest, man, that it's not even just about Israel any longer. It is about democracy. The Israeli military officials, the generals, were routinely saying there is no military solution to Hamas. There is no military solution to Hamas. We cannot militarily defeat Hamas.
Further evidence of Israeli Nazism is generals publicly disagreeing with their leader's intended military campaign.
Hamas is just an idea. Palestinian sovereignty.
What? What? Dude, what are you talking about? They're like an organization. There's like a bureaucratic structure. They have a charter. There's a government. There's a military. It's not the same thing as like Antifa. That has like no centralized like planning or no organizational structure. You know, it's like, what are we comparing this to? Like V for Vendetta? Like what?
Yeah, Fred Hampton said it best. You can kill a revolutionary, but you can't kill a revolution.
It's just using a figure who was left-wing and explicitly non-violent to launder a right-wing, theocratic, authoritarian group's mission.
That's exactly what he's doing, dude. That's exactly what he's doing. If Hamas did a revolution and were successful, if they did like a successful revolution and they like, you know, couped or defeated like IDF or whatever, you know, what would follow from that revolution would be just a situation that like Hasan would never in a million years volunteer to go live under.
Is just really gross.
The term anti-Semite not having a serious consequential impact any longer has allowed actual fucking virulent anti-Semites to become major propagandists, engaging in reputation laundering.
I didn't expect Hasan to make my argument for me.
Fucking farm the table, baby. That's right. Locally grown organic bathtub RPGs that they fucking use on the Israeli tank. Electronic Intifada does a assessment report every fucking day almost. I of course can't play them on the broadcast.
Nothing to see here, just Zoomer NPR casually telling his audience where to find videos of Hamas putting together booby traps to ambush IDF soldiers along with footage of the subsequent attacks.
Wait, what?
Nothing to see here, just Zoomer NPR casually telling his audience where to find videos of Hamas putting together booby traps to ambush IDF soldiers along with footage of the subsequent attacks.
Wait, he did that shit?
It is literally not only the legal thing for the Palestinians to do, which is to smoke the Israeli occupying force soldiers that are sitting inside of their fucking armored personnel carriers, okay, that are currently conducting a fucking ethnic cleansing campaign.
Again, the contradictory logic here is just astounding. You know, like his whole, like the whole basis of his position on Ukraine is that, you know, Ukraine is outgunned and outmanned, and any kind of resistance against Russian imperialism is just throwing people into the meat grinder, and therefore we should stop, you know, sending them arms and, you know, just try to force some kind of a peace solution that would necessarily involve Russia just annexing part of Ukraine, right? And yet he's over here pretending like Hamas, especially after the last 2 years, like Hamas is like still in the fight. It's pretty wild.
It is also the moral thing for them to do. The double Monty, both legal and moral.
But that doesn't absolve the fact that October 7th was horrific. That doesn't absolve the fact of what happened in those kibbutzes.
You just genuinely don't think Palestinians are human beings. Even if you have a fucking Palestinian niece, okay, you must not think that your Palestinian niece is a human. If you are still talking about October 7, you just want to give permission to Israel to do the genocide, but you're too ashamed to stand 10 toes.
Bear in mind, he's saying now his logic is, these days his logic is if you're still talking about October 7th, that's a problem because, it's been 2 years and a lot of stuff has happened since then. But he was doing this on October 8th, He was pushing back against any kind of criticism of Hamas on October 8th. On October 7th, he called them imperfect resistance. So it's not the fact that we're 2 years removed from October 7th and there's been a lot of people that have died in the meantime, and therefore you shouldn't talk about it anymore. His position the whole time was like, don't talk about October 7th. Like, center the discussion around Israeli occupation or whatever.
Toes down and say it. I'm an advocate for the Minsk agreements, an infinitely better proposal than
Jesus, Noid. Are we having the same period? Are we having our periods at the same time? It's happened like 4 times in this video, where I pause the video and then say, well, what about this or what about that? And then, 2 seconds later, what
the fuck is going on currently?
The transphobic joke is a nice touch.
She actually went through gender confirmation. Yeah, Sargon of Mossad.
Next, we watch a video of a guy asking people if they're Hasan fans. This takes 45 minutes. Then we're on to a video about drama with the YouTuber Mudahar. Then Chris Cuomo thinking AI AOC is A-OK. And finally, it's over. What did I learn today? That migraines hurt a lot. I'm going to go lie down and think on my sins.
Dude, I still can't believe that you watched every single Hasan stream for a week from front to back. Like, what a fucking soldier you are. That's the sacrifice that you made should be revered. We should dedicate an entire day to you, like 1 calendar day a year to commemorate this sacrifice that you've made.
Birmingham, Alabama was referred to by Martin Luther King Jr. as the most segregated city in America.
Now I want to predict where you're going with this. I don't even know. I find it compelling. I'm like, oh, where's this story going? When you do the little interstitials in between the chapters, this is good. This is good storytelling.
Efforts at nonviolent protest against the city's segregation culminated in the 1963 Children's Crusade, when nonviolent student protesters were met with high-pressure fire hoses and attack dogs at the behest.
Like, I imagine you psychologically, after those 7 days of watching Hasan streams, that you were in a similar camp to, like, you remember when the Waco standoff was going on and the feds blared the sounds of rabbits being killed? And I think they played Metallica, like, to like keep them awake. That's kind of how I imagine your mindset was, right?
Of City Commissioner of Public Safety, Eugene Bull Connor. Day 4. All right, I know the song can't get any worse. I don't care. I don't care.
Mr.
I don't
Beast
care.
is confirmed to be a Mossad PSYOP plant.
An American who served in the IDF had their car torched. He assumes that Israel planted the story to get sympathy.
I assume that they thought that they...
Sorry, what was that?
PSYOP plant.
An American who served in the IDF had their car torched. He assumes that Israel planted the story to get sympathy.
I assume that they thought that they could get, like, Israel could get, like, good coverage out of this. It's so dumb. There is no power on the left. There is no institutional representation for the left.
He watches an interview with Mike Huckabee. I see we're getting to Israel earlier this stream.
I mean, this is a true religious zealot. First of all, he's the ambassador to Israel, not Jewish, evangelical Christian. Important to notice. Important to mention. This is the real backbone of the unconditional support to Israel's genocide. There are edge cases. There are ultra-Zionist Jews in this country, certainly, okay? And they fund the Trump campaign. Some of them also fund Democrats as well. You got AIPAC, all this shit. These guys are the real base for pro-Israel politics in this country.
And now Fox News interviews Netanyahu. I'm sure this is going to be an extremely productive use of Hasan's time.
Oh, brother. Oh, my Lord.
It's all the same stuff he's already been saying.
This is illegal, by the way, under international law. Everything Israel does is illegal. Israel is an illegal entity, okay? Every single day, he
Well, that's not true.
behaves like a man who's caught children okay, in the archives of like Unit 8200.
What are we saying is illegal? Like, what are we like? The country of Israel itself is an illegal state. Is that what we're saying? Like, that ship sailed in 48, bro. Like,
as I've said over and over again, there is no real democracy in America. Reservists are killing themselves with regular frequency because they're like, we many children and I can't deal with it any longer. I'm going to kill myself. And now your numbers are diminishing. The enthusiasm for the unlimited baby murder is going away because people are too scared to continue doing baby murder because there are repercussions for it. They also realize that when you do that baby murder and you then fucking fly out of Israel to go somewhere, people look at you and go, you were in the IDF? Oh, so you're a baby killer. That's disgusting that you're from Israel. What the fuck?
We did something that no...
That's disgusting that you're from Israel? That's the disgusting thing? First of all, there's also this assumption that everybody that... I mean, this is like the hippies did this with the Vietnam veterans, man. Like, and they were drafted, bro. Like, like young boys in this country were drafted to go to Vietnam by the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. And then they came back and the hippies like literally spit on them and called them baby killers. Like, are we just, every IDF soldier has murdered a baby? But it's, the disgusting thing is that you're from Israel. Like, you can't really control that. You don't really get a say in like where you were born.
Army in history ever did. We're supplying humanitarian food to the...
There was one army that did that. The Nazis. What is this? Mike from PA just spent 5 hours apologizing for using the word demonic. Yeah, I'm not speaking on his situation, but the Israeli Defense Force is conducting a genocide. I'm not saying an entire ethnicity of people or even an entire nation of people are demonic or anything like that. So don't try to slam words into my mouth.
Oh, he's being very careful here. But he's also kind of like justifying it, right? It was like, no, I'm not saying what he said was right, but look at what they're doing. Like, it's like
the enthusiasm for the unlimited baby murder is going away because people are too scared to continue doing baby murder because there are repercussions for it. That's disgusting that you're from Israel. What the fuck? Overseas, but are worried about their safety. Recommendation include, don't make your Israeli identity obvious. Don't wear shirts with Hebrew, and think twice before walking with a kippah or tzitzit, garments that are worn by religious males. Don't tell strangers that you're Israeli or Jewish. Don't post your travel plans on social media or revealing information / post about your trip in real time. I'll leave you with just one question. Is there any country that needs to warn its citizens to hide their identity when traveling overseas? There is currently, as it stands, okay, there are countries that I suspect do this. Russians probably, to a certain degree, do this. Americans also experience a level of shame, so they will claim that they're Canadian.
It is not comparable. That is not comparable. Like, Americans telling people that they're wait, what? Hold on. Don't do all caps. It's going to let it play. Oh, I'm sorry. All right, fine.
That I suspect do this. Russians probably, to a certain degree, do this. Americans also experience a level of shame, so they will claim that they're Canadian or whatever. But you're doing a genocide. Like, what do you mean? Of course there is going to be enmity. Of course there is going to be anger and resentment. You are a Nazi doing a Holocaust in real time and simultaneously crying about how anti-Semitic people are for not letting you do your Holocaust with loud cheers.
Oh, that's a good point. The whole point of this was for people to hide their Jewishness. That was the whole point. And then he plays right into it, like he justifies without a moment's hesitation. He fully justifies the lengths that people are going to hide their Jewishness.
Of course people are going to be like, you're Israeli? Oh, gross. The fuck do you mean? What is the expectation here? Is the expectation here that like people just like cheer when they hear that you're coming from the country that is now most known for baby killing? What the fuck? If you want to do reputation laundering, you have to tell the Israelis that we hear from on a daily fucking basis to stop saying Hitlerian shit in Hebrew, okay?
The idea that people should be punished, like citizens of a country should be punished or ostracized due to the actions of their government or their military, How is that not insanely problematic? Like, if we applied that evenly for every country in the world, everybody would just be massive fucking bigots 24/7. Like, okay, I'm from America, and you say that America is literally the most evil country that's ever existed in the entire world. Should I be like ostracized if I go travel to Europe or something like that? Yeah, I mean, like, seriously, like, similarly, would he have the same kind of smoke for like a Russian immigrant? Like, what if a Russian came in? Well, I don't know how often that's happening these days, but if there were Russians that were here as tourists or whatever, would he advocate for similar treatment? Just like,
Obviously, first and foremost, if there was a tremendous number of Israelis, specifically Israeli Jews, that were literally on the streets actively tampering
oh my God,
of the IOF, okay, it would be a little bit more defensible.
No fucking shot. He covered Tel Aviv protests against Netanyahu in the war the day before, and he says this?
But that doesn't even fucking exist. It's like marginal. Half of them are in this chat right now. It's fucking ridiculous.
Wasn't it tens of thousands of people in Tel Aviv? Was that not a massive protest?
Jesus Christ. All the indicators they warn about are religious or Hebrew.
Modern Hebrew is a constructed language anyway. They pronounce everything wrong.
For your sanity as well as mine, let's abridge this a smidge more.
Every defender of Israel has one speed. Overly litigious crybabies.
Implies Ezra Klein is racist for asking Mahmoud Khalil about October 7th.
I was, when people were like, oh, Ezra Klein interviewed Mahmoud Khalil, I was like, oh, he probably didn't do the condom hummus shit at this point, right? It turns out, no, he did do that.
He gets excited about the decor for the UAE meeting with Putin, talking about the architecture and the table more than anything else.
Grandiose behavior and like massive halls and shit still kind of hits. You gotta have a weird fucking table.
And I don't want any questions about the table.
If you're gonna have a convo like this, it's gotta be on a table like that.
Table.
How do you have no smoke for Vladimir Putin? You're doing all these rants about like Israel evil, America evil, and then Vladimir Putin's on your screen. And you're like, damn, that's some really good like furniture.
I am anti-Putin.
Oh, okay, all right. At least he said that, right?
Wish, however, we had like similar weird shit. Fancy ornaments that people literally fucking toiled away making and probably died in the process of building.
Vladimir Putin is like a literal, like almost literal, like modern day Hitler. He was like the closest thing to Hitler in the modern era, I think.
Okay. That's what I mean. There's like a history of
maybe Kim Jong-un might be worse, but
associated with this.
We do have that in this country, Hasan. You're just not going to like the examples of it.
Your country has literally no history nor culture aside from Gunburger? No, I know.
We read an article about Ukrainian support for the war effort, and he calls Ukraine a fleshlight. That's
Continuously
nice.
As a fleshlight. I didn't say that. You want to know why I didn't say that? Because I'm not fucking stupid and bloodthirsty. Analysis. Putin's claim that war on Ukraine is the target Nazis is absurd. Here's why. What is this? This is my analysis too. It's so fucking stupid. I've never lent credence to Putin's idiotic claim that like he was
Zugrobi, thanks so much for 5 months.
Nazifying Ukraine. Nothing to see here, just some Nazi salutes to today's football match in Rivne, Ukraine.
It's incredibly important. And somehow I feel like on the left, I don't know how this happened online. Maybe it's because we tend to be younger or whatever, but somehow the party's messaging apparatus, it feels like it's kind of hijacked from people by people who...
Hasan proves Destiny's point here about the destructiveness of leftist influencers.
Till the Democratic Party changes and actually becomes an active fighting party, a party that actually cares about its citizens, a party that actually cares about its voters, a party that is actually predisposed with like improving people's lives.
After 45 minutes...
This gives you such profound insight into Hasan's brain. Because he talks about the party like... You got to understand, for tankies, when they say like a party, like a political party, they mean something very different than what an American who believes in liberal democracy, when they say political party, it means a very different thing. Like when Hasan talks about a political party, he's talking about the Uniparty. He's talking about the Vanguard Party, like Lenin's Vanguard Party, where it was not a democratic institution. It was a ruthless arm of Lenin's revolutionary movement. It was a party that imposed things on the people that it ruled over. And in America, in these United States, we live in a fucking democracy. So he's talking about like the party until the Democratic Party does X, Y, and Z. It's like, okay, well, what, like, how do you think the party gets power? Like, what do you think a political party is? The voters themselves will choose in the primaries in 2026 and next year. The voters themselves will choose like what politicians they elevate to positions of power. Democratic primary voters will decide what direction they want this country to go in. And if his side wins, then they'll get to, you know, if they can build enough leverage, then they'll be able to influence things. But he never frames it that way. There's never a framing of like, this is our government. And, you know, there was a clip of him just a couple minutes ago where he, you know, there was a quick little aside where he's like, well, you know, the United States, we're not really a democracy. And that's another core part of his like belief system, right? Like he doesn't actually believe in the kind of democracy that we believe in. Like he's a tanky. Like he believes that, you know, power should be seized and then imposed on people, and you know, then we'll do voluntary education for people who, you know, maybe like capitalism a little too much. Yeah.
Of Destiny, there's another 45 minutes of stream, but it's worthless fluff, and I want to do something productive to counterbalance the neurological atrophy I'm experiencing, so...
Your job is a grift, you do it well. I'm a grift engineer.
Unironically, yes. It's actually kind of, you know, this does surprise me a little bit. Like maybe I thought it was a little bit of a meme, but he really does do like the flowchart. It's just, his whole brand is just the fucking flowchart, guys. It's just this. It's just this 7 days a week. It's just a relentless flowchart. It never ends. Vladimir Putin's on his screen. He's like joking. Oh, I like their fucking tables. Donald Trump is doing some stupid shit, and he's just like, classic Trump. Adam Schiff gets announced that they're politicizing the DOJ to investigate Adam Schiff. He's like, oh, Adam shit. He has it coming, you know. It's fucking disturbing. I don't know what I mean. This is like I don't know how you made it for a whole fucking week. You know, we're only 35 minutes into this video, and I'm like, Jesus, this is what he's pumping into his, you know, 25 and under audience 7 days a week. $5 from the Mick till DSA endorsed Pelosi in 1996. Today they would call her worse than Thatcher. I don't know what is happening in people's minds. Wait, the DSA existed in 1996 and they endorsed Pelosi? I don't know if we can watch this. This is going to be DMCA again.
Welcome to the internet. None of it's of interest.
Yeah, I don't know if I can do this. I think it's DMCA.
To you, you'd be the first.
Yeah.
Welcome to the internet. Come and take a seat, would you?
I got to mute it. There's a DMCA situation there.
Bro. You're Jewish.
Welcome to the internet.
Sorry, I just got to skip this part.
My the Nazis, and they told me, I hate Jews. I hate Jews. I want to kill Jews, said Hamas. This is why people call me a disgusting anti-Semite.
Day 5. Come on, Hasan, hit me. Next. He's in Chicago today for the Democratic Socialist Convention to interview Rashida Tlaib.
We're here with Congresswoman.
We didn't even watch, we should have watched more DSA convention stuff.
Rashida Tlaib.
Wow, that was fast. It wasn't. It took an hour where nothing happens to get here. We just unironically watched someone's commute to work. Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib represents Michigan's 12th district, which notably includes parts
We watched this interview. It was not great.
of Detroit and Dearborn. What are they going to talk about?
But the lack of really feeling like the party has their back.
Fantastic.
They wanted to campaign with Liz Cheney.
Kamala did 3 campaign stops with Liz Cheney and gave no concessions in exchange. It was entirely about the importance of stopping Trump.
I mean, I watched them botch the minimum wage and botch environmental protections.
There were constantly like a revolving villain structure within the Democratic Party that would consistently spoil bills.
For some reason, one Democrat voting against something is evidence of conspiracy, but every Republican of voting against something is just praxis, I guess.
I mean, I think it comes down to the fact that there are people like me and others that don't take corporate PAC money And we, you know, I'm not.
Oh, I wasn't considering you a spoiler. I was considering like the centrist Democrats who.
President Biden produced more fossil fuels than any president prior.
He did. He also used that to push construction of more renewable energy sources than at any time previously, and to exclude that denies...
Wait, I don't even... Hold on. What did she claim?
It comes down to the fact that there are people like me and others that don't take corporate PAC money. And we, you know, I'm not...
Oh, I wasn't considering you a spoiler. I was considering like the centrist Democrats who...
President Biden produced more fossil fuels than any president prior.
But our emissions have been going down. The last I checked. Hold on. Are they not even going to mention the fact that he signed literally the largest investment in climate and renewable energy in the history of countries? Are they not even going to... Wait, are you already on the level? Okay, hold on. All right, sorry.
He also used that to push construction of more renewable energy sources than at any time previously, and to exclude that denies crucial context.
Democrats are really good about keeping power and trying to keep power, but not using power.
More shitting on Dems.
They don't give a shit about the Democratic base. Leave the so-called, I know you...
What do you know about power? How are these people with a straight face having a conversation about like advice for political power? Who the fuck are they to give advice about political power? How is this not a fucking satire? Is this not a parody? Are they doing a skit? Was there a script for this?
Centrist. I mean, the Republican, like, folks within the Democratic caucus, you know, I'm not...
Oh, I wasn't considering you a spoiler. I was considering like the centrist Democrats.
Though unintentional, that answer is quite revealing about how she sees herself compared to the rest of the party. She's at the end of the horseshoe and she's just reaching across the aisle.
Israel's genocide of the Palestinians in Gaza.
Talib nods when Hasan says there's no democracy.
Because a lot of people are realizing, oh, there is no democracy at all.
Oh my God.
It doesn't matter what our voices, it doesn't matter how loud we yell.
First of all, there is no...
This is why we call them black pill lefties. This is why they're living in the fucking richest, bougiest country that has ever existed on the face of this fucking planet. And especially him in particular, he exists in the kind of privilege and decadence and luxury and wealth that a tiny fraction of a percentage of humans have ever experienced on the face of this fucking planet all throughout human history. And his pitch to his audience is, you live in a fucking shithole, everything's getting worse, there's no escape, democracy's not real. Like, that's the whole pitch, man.
Strategy in genocide. Either you're against it or you're not.
Okay, but the strategy is how you stop the genocide.
I think that Ta-Nehisi Coates said it best.
Yeah.
If you can't trust them to stop a genocide, what makes you think that they'll save democracy here in America?
Saving democracy is not the job of politicians. It's the job of the electorate.
He doesn't like democracy. He doesn't believe in democracy. This is all just a smoke show. Don't you get it? It's like Republicans when they talk about government. It's the same. It's horseshoe. It's literally a fucking horseshoe. Like, Republicans, their whole thing is they'll talk about how much government sucks, but then they pass all these measures to like defang and defund government. They don't literally believe in government. Like, that's the whole point. You know, they're all like anarcho-capitalists. Well, they're not principally small government, obviously, but Blue Collar, thanks so much for the tier 1 membership.
Every time people elect someone who doesn't seek to subvert the democratic process, they are saving democracy.
What I like to call woke dual loyalty, where you're just like, oh, this person is Jewish, of course they love Israel. And that's a good thing. Versus what someone like a neo-Nazi says, oh, of course those people love Israel, and that's a bad thing because they're Jewish.
Democrats are really just trying to get the power back, right? The gavel. But they're not going to use that power when it comes, and it's going to be the same. Being engaged, no matter if it's the voting, because voting should be voting plus. I just don't want you to feel like there's no place for you all to be able to use your voice and push back.
I'm scared of the word intifada. I'm scared of this. I'm scared of that. Like,
no one is scared of a college student shouting intifada, but people are rightly insulted that they'd call upon the memory of literally over 100 suicide bombings for a protest ostensibly about peace.
Zionism is an exterminationist ideology built around ethno-religious supremacist values. So when people say like, oh, well...
I'm at the point now where I just like, I think that is anti-Semitic. To call Zionism an ethno-supremacist ideology. What you can say is that there are people that have ethno-supremacist attitudes in like the Israeli government. You can say that the rising tide of nationalism in Israel is bad, But Zionism was birthed out of European Jewish persecution and mass murder. That's what caused Zionism. It was a reaction to a very real violence done to them for thousands of years, which got worse, towards the end of the 19th century in Europe, and definitely got worse towards like the mid 19th century or the 20th century.
I'm a liberal Zionist. Like, what do you mean? It's like saying you're like a liberal Nazi.
I wonder what her Jewish constituents would feel about that. The interview ends, and the funniest thing happens.
We don't really have a formal democracy at this point. We are going to elect a socialist mayor. We don't really have a formal democracy. I'm running for re-election. We don't really have a formal democracy. And even when we don't win,
there is no democracy at all.
Hasan meets some of his fans.
What was that? Was that DSA? What was that? We don't have a formal democracy right now? What does that even mean? What are they referring to? Like
this is the worst.
Like in America or within the DSA? The fuck are they talking about? It was a movement with the stated intent to establish an ethno-state, regardless of motivations. That is definitely what it was. Okay, that's fine. Do you understand why? Like, do you understand why Jewish people wanted their own country? Does it make sense? Why are we saying ethno-states? Like, this is like this inherently, like, you're applying the standards of 2025 to the standards of the fucking 19th century. It was not an inherently immoral thing that that Jewish people, fleeing persecution from Europe wanted their own country. They had you would have wanted your own country. Do you understand that? You would have wanted your own country. And it would have been totally fucking justified. Of course they wanted their own state. Like, of course they wanted their own state, man. Do you support ethno-states? Does the reason matter? Again, you're applying a 2025 lens to 1948 in Europe. You're saying it's like this inherently evil thing, but it's not. It's like as someone, like, I prefer a liberal secular democracy. Like, I'm quite biased, but I think it's a pretty based way to live your life. And I think that would be ideal. But I'm not going to judge one group or another for wanting their own country because they were murdered and imprisoned and had their property stolen from them and were discriminated against and persecuted. Like, anybody in that spot is going to be like, fuck, it would be really dope if we had our own country. Is that immoral? Are we calling that immoral? Why is that immoral? Can you explain that to me? To me, it's not ideal, right? But that's not the point. Like, I understand why it happened. Like, you don't really need to try that hard to, like, understand why it happened.
After that, he meets up with the hosts of the Jam Pod for a school supply drive.
We're gonna go get some food now.
Bull Connor held significant influence in Birmingham and used it to disrupt and harass civil rights organizers. However, Connor's power was dependent on winning elections. And so, Martin Luther King and others would strategize to make sure Connor would no longer stand in the way of their movement.
I know where you're going with this. Did you get this from me? It's okay to say that you got it from me. I think I know where you're going from this. Did you get that? Did you get this idea from me? Okay, you can give me credit. You did, right, though? You got it from me? Is he still in the chat? He got it from me. He got it from this guy.
I am so happy this stream is so short. Not even an Amias Rail High can bring me down. We're going to be listening to an interview with Jonathan Greenblatt, the head of the ADL. Ah, boy.
A little bit worried.
It's all the same talking points. The last 5 days, he's just saying the same thing over and over again, and I'm extremely tempted to just roll through, but...
Once the British Empire took over British Mandate Palestine, they basically engaged in a settler colonial operation by sending as many Jewish people to this area as they possibly could. And they did that for a deliberate purpose, to create a settler colony that could be controlled and maintained in this resource-rich region.
So, to begin, the Balfour Declaration of 1917, named for Sir Arthur Balfour, was Britain's written support for the creation of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. Prior to this, there were waves of Zionist immigration from across Europe wherein Jews would purchase land, sometimes at multiple times its true value, and maintain it themselves. In some places, this meant draining of swamps and marshlands in order to make it habitable and cultivate farmland. In other places, this meant the eviction of Arabs who had been working that land, sometimes for generations. This created tension that was exacerbated by the Balfour Declaration and coupled with rising Arab nationalism as the British took control of what would become Mandatory Palestine from the Ottoman Empire after the end of World War I. Not all Jews thought Zionism was the right way to go. Despite rising European nationalism and violence committed against them, many European Jews thought that assimilation would bring equality. To put it bluntly, they were wrong. It's not easy to just come down and say that the Zionists who bought land and kicked out the people who lived there were correct, and the people who were now without their means of livelihood just had to suck it up. However, there was no perfect means, especially back then, for Jews to find a place to settle. Immigration quotas in America meant that Jews would not be able to reach it, which would continue to impact them after and even during the Holocaust. And the fact that Europe would eventually become exterminationist towards the Jews meant that going to Mandatory Palestine wasn't just the best option, it would have been the only option. But this was still Britain promising land it did not own to people who did not live there. Of course people would be pissed. Now World War II is happening and the world is splitting apart across Allied and Axis lines. Germany seeks a partnership with Egypt, and so Britain, in an effort to sway Arab states towards their side, basically retract the Balfour Declaration and promise.
The big cause of both World War I and World War II, right? Was this idea of nationalism. Nationalism spread all over the world in the beginning and then into the mid 20th century. And one of the ways that Britain convinced the Arab population in the Middle East and North Africa to join them in their to join them in their war against the Ottomans was this promise of this is what birthed pan-Arab nationalism. It was this you should have your own countries, you should rule yourselves. God damn it, this is just, the stream is fucked. I mean, this is just fucked. And then especially, and I think they even enlisted Jewish people in the fight in World War I by promising them land as well. But they were certainly making promises to both groups, to the Arab population in the Middle East and to the Jewish population. They were promising them land on what was at that point British Mandate Palestine. And so Jewish people, started emigrating from Europe little by little, right? But they were coming. Jewish people had been immigrating to British Mandate Palestine over the course of decades. It wasn't just 1948 and then everybody came over. There was also land sales. So Jewish people were purchasing land from Arab landowners. And there was some fuckery there too, because a lot of these Arab landowners fully expected the Jewish population to be kicked out, and so they took money from these Jewish people to purchase this land, but then they were counting on the Jewish people to be kicked out, and they would just get the land back. But the crucial role that Britain played in creating the shit show that has now persisted for 75 plus years. They were a central role in it. If you wanted to blame one party more than any other party, it was the British. They fucking straight up did that shit. I don't know about France's role in to what extent. I read a little bit about that. I read a Benny Morris book about this where he went into great detail about it. And I learned a bunch of shit that I hadn't learned before. But if you put yourself in the mind of a European Jewish person in the front half of the 20th century, if you really put yourself in their shoes, I would have done the same fucking thing. Are you kidding me? If I had faced that kind of persecution, especially after the fucking Holocaust, by the way, but even before the Holocaust, there was plenty of persecution going on. If I had faced that kind of persecution and then somebody told me hey, you can get on a boat and you can go to your historic homeland and you can buy land there, you can immigrate there, you can start populating that. And then especially after fucking World War II, and you got people telling you oh, you can maybe have your own country there. Every person in both of my chats would have gotten on that boat with no fucking hesitation. Every one of us would have gotten on that fucking boat. And this isn't to say, again, it's not, you can condemn an action like what happened to the Palestinian people, especially after the 48 war. But not limited to just after. There was plenty of bad stuff going on before that in the years coming running up to that war, and the eventual just takeover of moving past the the 48 borders, like moving past the initial partition. You can condemn an action like what happened. Like you can condemn the various bad things, the like very bad things that happened to people that were living in Gaza, and at the same time understanding that you probably would have done the same thing. It's very, very, very likely that you would have done the exact same fucking thing.
Palestine to them instead.
Which is, but this is why it's like, it's kind of obscene to say that from its very inception, Zionism was an ethno-supremacist project, because you're completely whitewashing at that point the entire reason why Zionism became a thing. It was a reaction to persecution and oftentimes like violence, like hundreds of years of persecution and violence that was really coming to a head at that period in history. That's what it was a reaction to. It wasn't an inherently like evil idea like Zionism.
Britain issues another formal statement, the 1939 White Paper, announcing that they would no longer seek to make a Jewish state in Palestine, and they would restrict Jewish immigration. They did this in 1939. Now everyone's pissed because Jews are trying to escape Europe and Arabs are trying to regain control of their land, and the British are playing both sides. To say that this was all just so Britain could extract resources like Belgium and the Congo is reductive.
I should just shut the fuck up and let the video play, because you're... Noid, I think these are really good videos. Just a couple things of polish when it comes to the audio and some of the fonts that you use. And I think like I find this very impressive. This is only your second video. This is impressive. This is really impressive. My second video was fucking not this. Yeah.
To the point of being meaningless. The limited number of Jews going to Palestine even after the Balfour Declaration were not enough to make managing the region worth it, and the Jews going there were not arriving as citizens of Britain in another land. Their arrival signaled that they were severing their European connections. When the French were kicked out of Algeria, they could go back to France. For Jews in the 30s and 40s, where could they go?
So you're wrong about that. That's why I don't even like the language of diaspora. Because like after a certain point, if you have your roots set here in the United States of America for so many goddamn generations, like you're fucking American, you know? Zionism existed along the same time.
What is this logic? Okay, give me a number. You know, I want a number. Do you have to go back 200 years? Because we're at 78 years. 78 years. That's like 4 or 5 generations in some cases, maybe 6 generations even sometimes if everybody in the family is having kids really early. What's the longest generation like Israeli Jewish person in Israel right now? Is it like 6, 7 generations maybe? Okay, so it's not 78 years. That doesn't count, but it counts in America because it's 250 years? This seems arbitrary. I would like him to give me a number where it's no longer acceptable for the native population to, you know, want to violently murder people. Like, what is the number? It's obviously in America, we're good. We're good, right? We're good. It's been 250 years. It's like, get over it, right? 78 years? No. You know, what is the distinction here?
Time as a lot of other Jewish forms of self-governance. We had leftist Bundism. At the same time, it was competing with a ton of other ideologies and was never inherently going to succeed. It did so because of external factors like Balfour. And then, of course, obviously supercharged after the Holocaust, too. Because then there were plenty of Jews that were genuinely considered stateless and had withstood incredible violence at that point. Which, by the way, if you want to understand what Zionism is, look at the genocide in Gaza, because that's...
It's like he realized he just unintentionally made the argument for Zionism.
So look, the reality
Yes, he did. He literally...
is that intermarriage rates continue to go up. Assimilation continues apace.
This Nazi shit. This is shit that white supremacists say. Okay? How ironic that after a fucking century of Jews are doing the great replacement to taint the pure white race, now you got a Jewish dude literally saying that.
I mean, to be fair, what Greenblatt said there was fucking disgusting.
About Jews.
No, he's talking about being worried that the culture is going to disappear, that eventually the number of self-described Jews will decrease. The man supports Trump. Call him a white supremacist for that, not for having a preference to...
I disagree with you here, Noid. I mean, I think it's problematic for the same reason that, like, white supremacist opposition to... What do you call it again? There's like a term for it. Starts with M. It's like something miscegenation or something. I don't know what it's called. Miscegenation. I can say that word. Hey, get off my computer. Get off my computer. She sits down on my computer because it's warm, but then fucking cat hair gets down there.
Towards people in his culture marrying within it, the way a lot of cultures already do. Anyway, from there on, it's his greatest hits until he leaves. He licks the bean. Ick.
Yeah. Please leave it out. Okay. Yeah. It is off? Yeah.
He goes back to his hotel room and does more Israel news.
I'm gonna go wash my hands and pee.
And when an Arab Jew gets interviewed about Gaza, something interesting happens.
We need to finish now all the terror. If the name is Hamas, now we must.
Dude, that's so funny. Like this dude is a unk, bro. He looks identical to like half of the fucking Uber drivers we met today. You know he's Arab too. I mean Jewish, but Arab Jewish. That's not an unk, that's a Nazi. No, I'm just saying that like this is the insidious nature of fascist ideology over an imaginary boundary that was fucking placed. Like there ain't no way you'd know until he opened his mouth. You would never know.
Hasan actually pushes back.
Arab is not a race. We do not claim these people. They are not Arab. Stop saying they're Arab. It's revolting, frankly. I mean, they literally are. What are you talking about? They're from fucking Arab countries. They just happen to be Jewish. And now they're advocating for the fucking ethnic slaughter of all Arabs, all Palestinians, but just Arabs.
He said the war needs to stop. Isn't that what he said? 48-17.
We need to finish now all the terror. If the name is Hamas, now we must.
Oh, never mind.
He actually has to tell his chat to calm down.
Also, chat doesn't need to calm down. That person is Arab. The person who's reacting is like me saying, is like a Latino person responding to me being like, Nicolas Fuentes is not Latino, bro. He's not Hispanic. Call him something else. That's what that person is saying. Like that dude is 100% an Arab Jew, right? 100%.
This is the odd.
This all feels very problematic. I don't know if I can articulate it. This whole section feels especially problematic.
Audience you have cultivated, Hasan. They're following your orders.
Children in Gaza have been paying, the highest price for this unrelenting war that they have paid.
I mean, he's just accusing people of being like essentially like race traders, right?
Channel 12 said that they need 250,000 reservists to permanently militarily occupy the Gaza Strip. They, I don't think, have the capabilities of maintaining interior security, an occupation in the West Bank, and an occupation in Gaza.
Real quick, can we go back to the logistics of Greater Israel and maintaining those borders? Then we're on.
Yeah, that's such a good point.
To people getting arrested at a pro-Palestine protest.
In a wheelchair. I think I'm going to end it here.
I don't understand these references. None of this makes sense to me.
Guess you forgot. I'm made of rubber.
Israel is directly at war with the truth. Israel's not even allowing Western press and Western media to enter the Gaza Strip. I mean, this is disgusting, right? This is like blatant Nazi propaganda. It's Holocaust denial. If Israel's standards for what constitutes a valid military target was applied, then you can't say anything that happened on October 7th is a fucking war crime. Like literally, what do you mean?
Wait, what was that logic? Hold on.
Enter the Gaza Strip. I mean, this is disgusting, right? This is like blatant Nazi propaganda. It's Holocaust denial. If Israel's standards for what constitutes a valid military target was applied, then you can't say anything that happened on October 7th is a fucking war crime. Like,
what about like chucking a hand grenade in a bomb shelter? Like the manner in which they did the violence, like this like that doesn't matter.
You have failed me last time.
What about firing RPGs at random cars? Like what about binding? It's really graphic. I don't want to fucking. Some of those October 7th murders were so horrific.
Like literally, what do you mean? You could literally justify nuking Tel Aviv by that same standard. If the ADL can't stop me from getting placement in mainstream media outlets and magazines and fucking newspapers and whatnot, then it means that it's over. That's mostly to like a younger audience that wants to feel smart.
Oh, bro, you don't even know the Oppo research on Mamdani that's going to come out in the last month of the election. Like, I don't think people realize. I feel like I could be wrong. I feel like we're going to be seeing a lot more of Hasan on mainstream media starting here in like a month and a half. Like the sizzle reel of Hasan 9/11 takes, and then the imagery of Hasan like getting lunch with Mamdani. Like that hasn't even begun yet. They're gonna. You doubt that? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, usually like people will pull their punches a little bit, and then when you get to the final home stretch of when is the election for the mayoral race? Is it in November? November 4th, yeah. Like October, they're gonna really go hard. There's a clip of Hasan where like somebody made a viewer video or whatever, and he's reacting to it, and it's the clip of his uncle Cenk interviewing him. And Cenk, you know, and then again, so that's the clip that that Hasan's watching, and then Hasan's watching it, and then Cenk asks him, "Did you say that America deserved 9/11?" And then it cuts to Hasan, and I think they cut the video in deceptively, so like it wasn't how that actually played out when it happened. But like Cenk asked him, you know, "Did you say that America deserved 9/11?" And then it cuts to Hasan, and he goes, "Well, yeah." And then it stops, the clip pauses, and then fucking Robot Rock from Daft Punk starts playing, and then Hasan, as he's watching it, starts busting out laughing. Like that's the kind of stuff that I think they're gonna really aggressively, like Cuomo is gonna aggressively, and like Fox News is gonna pick it up, and then like other mainstream. That's what I think. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's like guaranteed to happen at some point in the next like couple months. I don't know if it's gonna affect Mamdani. I'm not saying that. And again, if I was in NYC, I would vote for Mamdani. And if you're in NYC, I think you should probably vote for him, even if you're not a lefty or whatever. But I do think they're probably going to hit him pretty fucking hard. I mean, it's NYC for Christ's sake. So
and therefore they can't like actually broach the subject matter that's like dense and too complicated for them to comprehend. So they just like watch someone basically summarize the worst version of events and get their notes from that. That's just like children's entertainment.
It seems familiar.
Complete. Congratulations!
Claudette Colvin isn't remembered in history as the brave young woman who refused to give up her seat on the bus. Despite being a victim as much as anyone else of an unjust law, civil rights leaders felt that using Colvin's story would pull attention towards her character and away from the unconstitutionally segregated bus system. Rosa Parks would stage her refusal to give up a seat because it would create a narrative that was harder to discredit. Martin Luther King Jr. delayed protests in Birmingham more than once to avoid swinging the 1963 mayoral election towards Bull Connor, an extremist segregationist, so that the less extreme segregationist Albert Boutwell would win. Fighting injustice is, in itself, an injustice. It requires bearing witness to the pain and suffering you want to prevent as much as it requires taking action to end it. It takes incredible resolve.
That's something that I've talked about on the stream quite a bit. I was just joking when I took credit for it, but Martin Luther King is just, nobody is bastardized like him. Nobody gets bastardized like Martin Luther King from the left and the right. So the right, they bastardize Martin Luther King because all they care about when it comes to him is, I have a dream that people will not be judged by the color of their skin, but the content of their character. Like, and they use that as an argument against identity politics. And then the left bastardizes Martin Luther King by doing stuff like the letter from the Birmingham jail, to talking about like white moderates. And he was a radical guy, but he was also very pragmatic, and he took electoral politics seriously. In the letter from the Birmingham jail, he talks about the importance of electoral strategy because there was some kind of event that they were planning in some southern state, some kind of demonstration that they were planning. And then there was a runoff election in that city or in that district or whatever. And they ended up postponing the demonstration to another day so that it wouldn't interfere with the runoff election that came up unexpectedly or whatever. I don't know if that's where you're going with this for your for this the interstitials with like Martin Luther King and like the Freedom Riders and the Rosa Parks and them, but
all for the sake of gaining the institutional power necessary to create systemic change that can last beyond one protest, one riot, one prison sentence. And at the heart of that resolve is compromise, with the people you want to save and the people who are hurting them, because ultimately, institutional power has to be ceded voluntarily for it to have legitimacy to the broader public. Fighting injustice is, in itself, an injustice. That's the lesson I want you to take away from this. Not that you're going to be disappointed with the results of your effort, but that your effort can actually change things for the better. Hasan promotes a worldview where you are morally obligated to reject compromise and coalition building because you somehow take on the sins of your allies. Hasan has spoken about Israel and Palestine near enough every day since October 7th, never changing the script, and despite having an audience larger than some entire US states, the most he has achieved is a couple of fundraisers. He has interviewed congresswoman and senator and mayoral candidate, but he cannot muster any genuine influence on policy via himself or his audience. He will talk at length about the influence of right-wing media and how Democrats need to use the same tactics as Trump, but he never actually puts those two things together as a form of concrete action. He just lets his audience fester in directionless rage, cheering whenever someone else does something violent that they can get some vicarious catharsis from.
And Kobe!
And screaming whenever someone says, "How about we stop fighting?" because it doesn't give them the same kind of dopamine hit. Criticizing Trump isn't enough to counterbalance that kind of ideological dysfunction.
I know Trump is doing this out of pure malice.
He can and has called Trump a Nazi, but that line of attack carries no weight without creating a clear difference between Trump being a Nazi
Oh, he's getting up there.
and Israel being Nazis. And all of this comes at the expense of people in the United States who now have to endure another 4 years of Trump, and hopefully just another 4, and the Palestinians who now have to endure a much more brutal conflict between Israel and Hamas. Regardless of if you think the left cost Harris the 2024 election, Hasan's message helps no one but Hasan, and that's the point. Political drama can be entertainment as a vehicle to keep people informed, but Hasan is using actual human lives for political drama that only serves as a vehicle to keep people paying attention to him, attention he doesn't even reciprocate. You are not obligated to psychologically flagellate yourself to the sin of being born in one place any more than a Palestinian needs to get killed for being born in another. You are self-harming to feel less guilty about a situation you don't have control over, and Hasan is enabling and encouraging it in order to make money. He courts a following of young people eager to engage with politics as a means to fix the world, and then uses the cover of real injustices to launder his extremism.
They got a bunch of fucking 18-year-olds wearing sandals, running up to $30 million fucking pieces of equipment and dumping an IED in there going, I'm not fucking stupid and bloodthirsty.
He puts his hatred of Israel over and above the real grave danger the Palestinian people are in as they experience starvation, oppression, and injustice as they are trapped between a group that sees them as a necessary sacrifice at the altar of Israel's destruction, and a military being led by someone who needs the war to continue to avoid going to prison. Hasan doesn't get rich like a capitalist by exploiting workers and overcharging for a product. He gets rich by exploiting his viewers' energy, the real effort that they could put into improving the world by convincing them that watching his streams is of equal value to engaging in a political system.
If you give up now, as pressure is mounting, instead of still continuously trying to get more people on board.
Because his streams do nothing, and he tells them that the system does nothing.
There is no real democratic process here.
And despite numerous terms of service violations,
what are you gonna do, bro?
He's still standing because of the value he has for Twitch and the relationship he has with Dan Clancy specifically.
Bro, we're never beating the Hasan runs Twitch allegations after this.
But at this point, it's gone too far, and Twitch has turned a blind eye for too long. So here it is, front and center.
Shut up, go back to Auschwitz.
Shut up, go back to Auschwitz. MK Lambert, thank you for the 50 gifted subs.
No, I'm reacting to what I'm watching right now. Is he really laughing at that?
Shut up.
Too far, and Twitch has turned a blind eye for too long. So here it is, front and center.
Shut up, go back to Auschwitz.
This is the worst.
Oh, fuck.
Shut up, go back to Auschwitz. MK Lambert, thank you for the 50 gifted subs.
Shut up, go back to Auschwitz.
Yeah. Remember 9/11. Shut up, go back to Auschwitz. Remember 9/11.
Welcome to Hasan. Yeah.
Oh my, how has that clip not gone viral? What the fuck? Why is this the first time I've seen that clip? Was that from last week? Is there more context to that moment? That's actually wild. I've never seen that clip. I feel like that clip could very easily make the rounds. That's a pretty crazy clip. These
Jews from all live all around the fucking world. That's
I can't there's DMCA. Noid. So first of all, guys, in YouTube and Twitch, the video that we just watched is pinned. I thought I was only gonna watch like 5 minutes of that, and then I ended up you kept my interest. The internal plan was like, yeah, we can watch like 5-10 minutes, and then I wanted to keep watching. I feel like that's valuable insight, like to know what the content was for the last week, and just to get you know, you see the clips and stuff, but I don't watch his stream, so I have no idea what he's doing over there. I'm really, really impressed by, you know, listen, the content aside, the you know, this is the second, you're saying this is the second video that you cut, and you used like free software. I remember those days, by the way. I remember those days with the Dazzle capture card and the fucking free editing software that it came with. That's a really fun time, I think, when you're getting into content stuff. But this being your second video, this is really impressive stuff. Really, really impressive stuff. Really good storytelling too. I thought you really brought it home with the civil rights illusions and how that fit into your kind of larger narrative about your observations for the last week. That was really well done. The historical analysis was like really on point too, because like it happened like 5 times where I paused the video and then I would go off on a rant about why this matters and and then you were you know, I unpaused and you were making the same points. And so the presentation, the organization, the fucking work you put into that, watching 50 hours of Hasan, God bless you, God love you. Really good job, man. I'm very, very, very impressed by that. That's kind of nuts that was your second video. That's kind of nuts. That's kind of crazy. The video is pinned in the YouTube chat. The video is pinned in the Twitch chat. Swing by that channel and subscribe, man. I'm definitely curious to see what you do next. You know, keep making videos. It was really minor stuff. It was like audio. Some of your audio transitions were like a bit jarring. It happened like a few times. And then the way that you put text on screen, I don't think looks very good. Like even this, I don't think looks very good. But that's very superficial, and that's something you can fix like very, very easily. But everything else, I don't really have a lot of notes. Like I feel like you're on a good track there. Audio is partially that I'm using Yeti USB mic. Part of it is that I need to learn audio stuff. The mic situation, listen, when you're in the content game, all right, this is how it works. You're gonna start making videos, you're gonna slowly build up an audience, and then you're gonna start making a little bit of money, and then you buy a better microphone. But for the time being, I don't think people are gonna click off of the video because you're using a Yeti mic. That's fine. Who cares? That comes with practice. Next video will be even better, I'm sure. That was good. That was really good. That was really impressive. I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass. That was genuinely surprising that was your second video. Which I'm just talking about your editing and your presentation. That says nothing about your logic. I felt like you were very logically sound. There were a couple points that I disagreed with logically, but that's fine. We don't have to agree on everything there. I had a different take, like for a few of the things, but keep at it, man. Keep at it. Let me know when you post your next video. We can give it a watch and we can check in on your progress. Might I suggest doing the same thing for Mike from PA? Ooh, guys, that's my request. Listen, I know it's asking a lot. If you do a Mike from PA, like week long. Now I know. It's asking a lot, but I promise you there's going to be way more insane shit. There's going to be way more insane shit if you do that. Like Mike is so much more deranged. I'm going to set up a Patreon before I do that. That's fair. Honestly, that's fair. That's fair. I'll subscribe to your Patreon. I'll do it. Give me a tier 2. Give me a tier 2 membership, okay?